Women are only complete once they've given birth to a child. That's why my wife is still incomplete.
Amidst the gathering of relatives, my husband, perhaps fueled by alcohol, began mocking me loudly. His hurtful words, aimed at me, an adoptive mother who couldn't have biological children, left no trace of love. And it wasn't just me, my husband even sought to make our son unhappy. I can no longer tolerate this man's reckless behavior. I decided to reveal a hidden truth, a trump card, to bring him to justice. My name is Charlotte. When I was a college student, I married a classmate, and now I'm a full-time homemaker. My husband, Michael, works at a small company run by his father. As a result, we often interact with my in-laws. Since the beginning of our marriage, there's been something they've incessantly said that drives me crazy.
Hey, Charlotte, I can't wait to see the face of my grandchild.
We're looking forward to the future heir of our company. So, it should be a boy first.
Their constant reminders about having children have become like a broken record. While I also eventually wanted children, my husband often copes with work stress by going out drinking. He comes home just to sleep, and late nights are not uncommon. Our marital life lacks intimacy, so despite the pressure from my in-laws, it's impossible for us to have a child. One day, I confronted my husband. Hey, can't you make some time for us? Your parents keep asking about an heir, but maybe we could focus on our relationship? His response was evasive.
Oh, you can ignore them. I'll handle it. Right now, work is so busy that I can't think about anything else.
No matter how much I tried to discuss things with my husband, he would always dodge the conversation with this kind of attitude, leaving me at a loss. One day, my in-laws visited our home, and we sat down for lunch. The conversation eventually turned to the topic of heirs.
You two really need to start seriously thinking about having children.
About that. Can you not bring it up so often? I hadn't mentioned it before, but the reason we can't have children lies with Charlotte's health.
His unexpected words left me utterly surprised. Wait, what do you mean?
Well, I did say I'd explain it properly.
Despite the fact that our inability to conceive was due to my husband's frequent absences from home, he shamelessly lied to my in-laws, placing the blame on me. I couldn't believe he would do that.
I see. It would have been better if you'd told us sooner.
Emotions aside, the conversation continued. However, with this response, there might be no more rushing about having children in the future, even if it's just a pretense on my husband's part. Although I was indignant about it, I chose to remain silent and not argue.
However, an heir is still necessary. What if you consider adopting?
An unexpected proposal came from my father-in-law. Honestly, I've considered adopting a child. Despite expressing a desire for us to try for a baby, my husband always avoids the necessary tests and other inconveniences. I felt that as long as he didn't change his lifestyle, we wouldn't be able to have children. Even though the company is small, Michael is the heir apparent. So, having a child to continue the legacy seems important. With that in mind, the suggestion of adopting a child didn't seem like such a bad idea after all. But beyond that, I personally longed for children, even if they weren't biologically related to me. I've always loved kids and dreamed of showering my own child with affection someday. Encouraged by my in-laws, my husband became more open to the idea. Eventually, we decided to adopt a child from a foster care facility.
Mom, I'm hungry. What's today's snack?
All right, I've got it ready. Wash your hands and come over.
Yes.
The energetic boy who returned home from elementary school was Liam, the child we adopted. He quickly settled into our family, and now we live together like true parents and a child. While my relationship with Michael remained distant, being able to pour my love into Liam made me truly happy. Liam continued to grow without any issues, becoming a fine young man with an unwavering character. When Liam reached high school age, my mother-in-law fell ill, and we found ourselves providing care for her at home. Liam, my son, stepped up.
I'll help as much as I can because I'm worried about Grandma.
While relying on caregiving facilities, I continued to visit my mother-in-law's house to assist her. It was Liam who made that suggestion. You have school, and it's too much for you. I'll take care of Grandma, so focus on your studies.
I'll make sure to keep up with my studies and not overdo it. I just thought it might help reduce some of your burden, Mom. Is that not okay?
Feeling that Liam wants to help each other as a family, I decided to ask for assistance within the limits that wouldn't interfere with his studies. After school, Liam would head to my mother-in-law's house, actively helping with her care. His commitment went beyond mere familial duty. He genuinely cared about her well-being. I'd always known him to be kind-hearted, but he tackled even the less glamorous tasks with a smile. My in-laws adored him like a true grandchild. Thanks to our combined efforts, my mother-in-law's physical limitations improved over time. Although she still faces challenges, she can now manage her daily needs independently. Liam expressed his joy.
I'm glad Grandma is feeling better.
As Liam entered his last year of high school, he opened up about his future plans during a discussion about career paths. It seemed that caring for his grandmother had influenced his decision.
When I helped take care of Grandma, I realized something. I want to study welfare in college and assist elderly individuals in their recovery.
His words surprised me, but they also reflected his kind-hearted nature. I assured him. Understood. I'll support your dream. When I shared this with my in-laws, they were equally impressed by Liam's determination. However, there was one dissenting voice. The only person opposing Liam's chosen path was my husband, Michael.
Being a caregiver doesn't pay well. I won't allow it. Besides, we took you in to be the heir to our company.
I appreciate you taking me in when I had nothing, but my career choices are mine to make.
Liam, usually compliant with his father, stood his ground this time. The tension between father and son escalated.
Do as you please. But I won't pay for your education.
Clearly displeased with Liam's decision, my husband's relationship with our son turned icy. As Liam pursued a degree in welfare at a university, my husband adamantly refused to provide any financial support. Feeling at a loss, I received an unexpected offer from my in-laws.
Our precious grandson's future is important to us. We'd like to support him.
And what about Michael? He's done nothing. No parenting. No caregiving. It's embarrassing, even as his father.
Both of them seemed exasperated by their son's behavior. After successfully graduating from university, Liam obtained his caregiver certification and began working at a care facility, just as he had hoped. Although I felt a tinge of loneliness as he moved out to live on his own after graduation, I couldn't help but feel proud of him for dedicating himself to a meaningful profession. Despite the challenges, he finds fulfillment in his work every day. One day, I received a message from my son, saying he wanted to talk. When I inquired further, he expressed his intention to introduce his prospective marriage partner. Still, my husband, who rarely comes home, was persuaded to return this time. As we waited together for our son's arrival, Liam brought along a woman.
Let me introduce you. This is Margaret. We've been seeing each other for a while.
Margaret smiled politely, introducing herself. Apparently, she worked as a singer-songwriter and had caught Liam's eye during her visit to his care facility. Their relationship had blossomed since then. My first impression of Margaret was that she was gentle and refined. Perhaps Liam was drawn to those qualities as well. My husband, who rarely engaged in conversation, surprised me by asking Margaret about her music. He delved into details, curious about her genre and favorite songs. As Liam revealed their plans for marriage, neither my husband nor I had any objections. Instead, we offered our blessings to the couple. After some time, Liam and Margaret officially registered their marriage and held a wedding ceremony. My in-laws attended the wedding, genuinely delighted for their grandchild's happiness.
He's got himself a good wife. Truly my son.
Since high school, my husband and son have had a strained relationship regarding their career choices. However, on the day of the wedding, my husband surprisingly praised our son. Perhaps age had softened him. To save up for their future home, Liam and Margaret decided to live with us for a while after getting married. I was happy to have my son back under the same roof, and Margaret, unlike many young people these days, didn't mind living with us. 3 months after the wedding, Margaret's pregnancy was confirmed. I accompanied her to doctor's appointments, knowing that first-time pregnancies could be nerve-wracking. One day, my husband returned home, possibly a bit tipsy, and made a hurtful comment.
Unlike you, who couldn't have children, Margaret is exceptional.
Normally, I'd let such remarks slide, but this one struck a nerve. What do you mean? You've always blamed me for not having children, but maybe your absence from home is the real reason.
If you had more feminine charm, maybe I'd come home too. It's your fault.
Despite my rebuttal, my husband remained steadfast in his belief that I was to blame.
You're just useless no matter what you do. Learn from Margaret.
Afterward, my husband continued to belittle me and repeatedly praised Margaret. Strangely, I began witnessing him visiting Margaret's room frequently. It struck me as odd. Why would he repeatedly visit our son's wife's room? When I confronted him about the lack of delicacy, he nonchalantly claimed that it was natural for a father-in-law to be concerned about his pregnant daughter-in-law. However, since the time we adopted young Liam, my husband consistently maintained that child-rearing was women's work, and he had no intention of helping. His sudden change in attitude seemed remarkably unnatural. The hurtful comparisons he made between Margaret and me only fueled my growing aversion and distrust toward him. Despite our feelings, Margaret's belly continued to grow, and she eventually gave birth to a healthy baby boy. About a month after the delivery, we decided to host a family gathering for Margaret's postpartum celebration and well wishes.
Women are only complete once they've given birth to a child.
During the gathering with relatives, my husband suddenly raised his voice, praising Margaret. Seeing Margaret cradle the newborn baby, she smiled with a sense of pride.
That's why my wife remains incomplete. You've raised an adopted child, but you act so high and mighty. The truth is, you haven't given birth. In contrast, Margaret has given birth to a son. She's far more accomplished than you.
Dad, that's not how you should talk. Mom raised me admirably. Apologize.
It's the truth.
Enough, Liam. Arguing with this person is futile. He's always lacked common sense and never considered others' feelings.
What? Are you mocking me too?
Yes, I think you're foolish. Truly, you're an irredeemable person. My suppressed anger finally boiled over. Perhaps angered by my strong retort, my husband hurled insults at me while spitting.
If only you were gentle and respectful towards me like Margaret.
Just then, our argument was interrupted by the loud cries of the baby Margaret held. Margaret, despite the tense atmosphere, maintained her usual serene smile. But there was something eerie about that expression.
Oh dear, the baby's crying. There. Let Daddy hold him.
She turned to Liam, who was sitting next to her, ready to hand over the newborn. Just as Liam reached out to take the baby, I steeled myself and addressed everyone present. Wait, the child's dad isn't you, Liam. Margaret, dear, can you confirm? Margaret remained deadpan, not uttering a word. Liam, bewildered, asked.
What do you mean, Mom?
Exactly what I said. The child's dad isn't you. Liam persisted.
But, then whose child is it?
I fixed my gaze on the man who had hurled insults at me earlier. Michael, it's yours. My tone was resolute, and my husband suddenly stumbled over his words.
What are you talking about? You can't just make up lies like that.
It's not a lie. I conducted an investigation. You, who rarely came home due to your escapades, suddenly started spending more time here after Margaret arrived. Sneaking into her room frequently, it raised suspicions. I couldn't ignore their suspicious behavior, so I secretly gathered evidence to confirm their relationship. He never thought I'd doubt him, but my husband didn't even bother to hide the evidence. Hotel receipts and other incriminating items were left in his room. Curiously, the dates on those receipts matched days when both Liam and I were absent.
Maybe you prepared all this to trap me. I know nothing about it.
Oh, still trying to play innocent? Your car's navigation history perfectly aligns with the hotel address. There's no escaping this. He persisted.
That's still circumstantial evidence.
But I had more. Remember, Margaret, you once said you were going out for tea with a friend. Turns out that was a complete lie. I continued. I checked your social media posts. Look at this photo. It appears you're having tea at a cafe, but in the corner, there's something else. Squinting, I pointed out a wristwatch partially visible in the frame. Now, Michael, you recognize this watch, don't you? The same one you're wearing on your left wrist. Why is it also in this photo? It seems that my husband understood that he couldn't excuse it as just another person wearing the same watch, as his face turned pale at my words. The truth hit him hard. That watch was a custom-made, one-of-a-kind gift I'd given him for his birthday. There was no denying it. Moreover, there's still more evidence. Please listen to this recording. I pulled a recorder from my pocket and pressed play. The voices of my husband and Margaret filled the room.
Blood ties matter after all. Having an heir ensures the company's stability.
But what if Charlotte or Liam notices?
They're clueless. They won't realize our relationship. Trust me, go ahead and have my child.
Their conversation turned my stomach. The audio had been captured by a private investigator during their surveillance. Still planning to make excuses? I asked, and my husband fell silent, his face pale. Clearly, he hadn't anticipated my actions going this far.
Oh well, we've been caught.
Margaret, on the other hand, seemed unfazed.
I don't mind that it's been discovered, and I've been hinting at it on social media. But I never thought that Charlotte would notice before Liam did. Really, Liam is so clueless. He doesn't notice anything.
Why would you?
When we were dating, it was fine, but after marriage, I realized being a caregiver didn't pay well and wasn't glamorous. You were supposed to be the heir, so you should have quietly taken over the company.
Liam couldn't hide his bewilderment at Margaret's nonchalant attitude.
Michael was the one who approached me. Besides, Charlotte is already a complete old hag, so a younger woman like me is much better.
Wait, can't you keep that to yourself?
Desperate to stop her, my husband's efforts were futile. Margaret just laughed, knowing everything was already out in the open. She continued.
Michael was the first to suggest it. He said there was no love for Liam or Charlotte, so eventually, they'd be pushed out. So, I thought, why not bear Michael's child? Even if it's a small company, becoming the president's wife has its perks.
And you think that justifies your actions?
Charlotte is a housewife, and Liam has no connection to the company. They have no authority to blame me. Besides, Michael will pay alimony, so why don't you both leave?
Right. I've already produced an heir, and you're both expendable. Charlotte, we're getting divorced, and I'll remarry Margaret.
Realizing he had no more excuses, my husband joined Margaret in demanding a divorce from me, their triumphant expressions evident. But an unexpected figure, who had been silently observing, finally spoke up.
Have you all misunderstood something? Who said we'd let those who deceived my precious daughter-in-law and grandson inherit the company?
His stern expression conveyed his anger.
What are you talking about? My biological child is obviously a better heir than Liam.
That's the misunderstanding. Our company is meant to end with my generation. All this talk of heirs and bloodlines. It's just your assumptions.
Ending the company? What are you saying? This isn't what we agreed upon.
Margaret, who had been smirking, suddenly erupted in hysteria.
Did you think I hadn't noticed that you're slacking off at work? Useless? While I wouldn't hesitate to entrust the company to Liam, I won't sacrifice my grandson's dreams just to keep the company afloat.
According to my father-in-law, my husband had been taking advantage of his position as the owner's son and not putting in much effort at work. Seeing this attitude, my father-in-law gave up on passing the company down to him and decided to close it during his own tenure.
But how heartless to make such a decision without telling me.
What are you saying? If you had worked diligently and prioritized your family, we wouldn't be in this situation. It's all your own doing.
My husband fell silent, unable to argue further under my father-in-law's stern reprimand. Margaret, too, seemed shocked by the turn of events, standing there in disbelief. Eventually, unable to withstand the cold stares from other relatives, the two of them hastily left the scene. As for my husband, his scheming was exposed, and he ended up losing his job. Of course, I kicked Margaret out of our home along with him, but neither of them ever offered an apology to us. I heard through the grapevine that my ex-husband attempted to find a new job after our divorce. Unfortunately, lacking significant qualifications and work experience, he struggled to secure a full-time position and ended up doing day labor jobs. Their child has been entrusted to Margaret's parents, and it seems that she herself works at night. The relationship between my ex-husband and Margaret has become strained, and it seems like divorce is imminent. Despite our divorce, I've maintained a relationship with my in-laws. They apologized for pressuring me to have an heir in the past. But thanks to that, Liam, a wonderful son, became part of my family. So, It's all okay. I reassured them with a smile, and they tearfully agreed. Liam, though initially affected by the incident, is resilient. I believe he'll eventually find someone he can truly trust. While there's no blood connection between me, my in-laws, and Liam, we consider ourselves a family and will continue supporting each other.
How did you find this story? If you enjoyed it, please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's meet again in the next video.